I think the way to analyze this question is that you will probably have to look or look at it in a sequence of events. So, and this is just a theory of how I'm trying to put down on paper how I understand this. So, at the beginning of the sequence, we'll have God, who is all powerful, omnipotent, and can do anything. Then God is challenged to the question, can he create an object? The object is a rock that he cannot move. And then the conclusion then by some people using logic would then state that if he creates the rock that he cannot move, then he is not omnipotent and all powerful. But I think the way to make it work, at least in my theory, is you have to look at it in sequence. And the way I would look at it is you would have at the beginning of the sequence God omnipotent, all powerful. Then the question is presented: can you create an object that you cannot move? And that is, again, that's like, for me, I see it as a yes and no answer, and that's looking into the sequence. After the question is asked, then the object is created. He creates the rock that he cannot move. Then the next sequence, since he is God and all powerful and omnipotent, he will then devise or create a way for him to move an object that he cannot move. It's interesting. I don't want to call it a play on words. I like it because the way you word it, you can almost make it sound as if he does this act, then he cannot be what he says he is. But my problem with that is that if I in my mind then break it down into a sequence, then it can actually work. For me, I see it almost as, in a mathematical term, if I tell you that 1 equals 3, then that will first seem mathematically illogical. But then if I explain to you that 1 does equal 3, if 3 is 3 segments of 1, and what that means is if I take a number like 10 and break that down or divide that by, let's say, 5, then I can mathematically say that 10 equals 2, which again would sound mathematically impossible because 10 cannot equal 2. But if it's broken down into segments, 10 can actually equal 2. I think a pie chart is the best way to use that. You can take a pie and you can cut it in half, and then on one half you can break it into, hypothetically, you can break it into as many segments as you want because a pie is a circle, so you can create an infinite amount of lines in between a line, which that brings about the paradox of infinity. So how I would look at that to answer that question, it would be the way you could make that correct is in the sequence of how you see it. Again, this is me outside of my beliefs, outside of what I believe in anything. I'm looking at it objectively. And the way I see it, the way it can be corrected is in the sequence. If sequentially, after you make that question, you assume that once he does this act, that then he all of a sudden cannot do something. But he can, in fact, in sequence, do exactly what you asked. Again, can God create a rock that he cannot move? I would say yes, but it would have to be viewed in sequence. So again, He creates the rock that he cannot move. After he creates it and he doesn't move it, then he could then suggest to himself at some point, maybe I should move this rock. And by him being God, then he can create or devise a way to move the unmovable. So for me, it's all about the sequence of events, I guess.